I'm Geoff Baker of the Seattle Times. I'd like to welcome you all to a new edition that we're going to have here on the Mariners blog. Hopefully it'll be a regular feature in the weeks and months ahead. We're calling it Around the Blogosphere, and it's a rapid-fire look at some of the more interesting items that you can find on the Seattle Mariners if you glance around the local blogosphere. And sometimes we'll venture outside the local blogosphere as well, but for now we'll stick to some of the more local coverage of the baseball team. The first thing I want to look at is Lookout Landing today. Jeff Sullivan, the author of that website, has an interesting item on Ian Snell, the former Mariners pitcher. He's given an interview in which he said that when he was successful with the Pittsburgh Pirates, he used a fastball primarily and then liked to mix his slider in afterwards. And the gist, the upside of that was he was saying that when he came over to the Mariners, things started to change. So take a look at that, have a look and see what you think about that. My personal opinion is that if Ian Snell had actually used his fastball more effectively with the Mariners, nobody would have tried to change anything. The fact is his fastball was often topping out well below 90 miles an hour and it was getting hit a lot harder over the fence. So that's my take on that. Moving right along, we've got USS Mariner. Dave Cameron, the author of that, has a roundup of the week's events, including the Mariners' decision to sign Gabriel Gross, the younger brother. Not Gabriel Gross, they've already signed him. Gabriel Guerrero, the younger brother of Vladimir Guerrero. They've signed him for $400,000. Cameron wisely tells everybody not to get too excited about that because Gabriel Guerrero doesn't necessarily equate to Vladimir Guerrero. Just look at his other brother, Wilson Guerrero, and you'll see what he means. So take a look at that. Then if we move down the line, Pro Ball Northwest has an interesting video shot, I believe it was down in Texas, of a Rangers fan telling their 3-year-old that Michael Young is no longer part of the Texas Rangers. Now, obviously, Michael Young is still part of the Texas Rangers. I think even the 3-year-old realizes that it's going to be tough for the Rangers to deal Michael Young without basically eating all of his contract. So have a look at that video. It's good for a few laughs. And then finally, if you move a little bit further down the line on Soto Mojo blog, author Keith Myers takes a look at where the Mariners should project as far as win totals go. Now that's a very dangerous thing to try to do because, as I mentioned in the newspaper this morning, some teams can go on winning runs in the last 2 or 3 weeks of a season. They can also go on losing runs in the last 2 or 3 weeks of a season, and that really impacts their won-loss total. It doesn't tell you a whole lot about how good the team is because they're often not playing very good competition at that point. But have a look at it. It's part 2 of a 2-part series. You can go back to part 1 where he tries to figure out where the Mariners project. I'll give away the answer. He says somewhere between 73 and 75 wins. My personal opinion is that's a little high. I think the Mariners will be fortunate to win 70 games this year, but that's just my take and that's his. We'll see who's right at the end of the season. Anyway, so hopefully tune into this feature on a regular basis and hopefully it can guide you around for some of your more interesting Mariner news. And for the rest of your news, just stay right here to the blog.